I've got some work to do outside. I want to bring you along and show you. I'm going to add on to the irrigation system, or drip system. And I want to show you because I want you to see how easy it is to put these together. Okay, let's go. Here's the line, my supply line that comes from the house, and if you look, this stuff has been there a year or two and it's almost completely into the ground, so it really kind of sinks in and the grass grows around it, and it's perfectly safe. You don't have any problem. And I want to show you this is not hard to cut. I'm just using a utility knife, which actually I kind of use for everything, and it cuts real easy. And you got your little connectors, and the connectors just push onto the line. They're snug, takes a little bit of pressure, but they'll go on there. And boy, they don't come off and they don't leak. I have had one get bumped and fall off, but it really doesn't happen very often. It just, they really do good. One thing you do need to do though, and I don't want to forget to tell you, this line, when you get it, comes in a coil about that big for a 100-foot of line. So before you can work with that stuff, you really need to string it out and thread it into a fence or something where you're holding it straight, and let the sun shine on it for a day or two, or I'm telling you, it is just so twisted up and coiled up, you really can't handle it very well. But that's not a big issue, and doesn't take very long. All right, I'm going to put a 90 right here for it to come up and go into our bed. We've already tapped into the supply line. Now we're going to cut us another little chunk. Pop that in there. Now we're going to have another 90. And then here's your add-on supply. Now I'll anchor this in place. I've got some little clips that I can nail into the edges of the bed that'll hold it. I'm not going to do it right now. I think that's just a detail that doesn't need to be settled. Now, I'm going to put, okay, on the end of this little dab of supply line that's just going to run across the strawberries, this little fitting is a little cap. And it just seals the end. And then if you ever want to unscrew this and maybe attach something else to it, or flush your lines out for some reason, you think there's a lot of dirt in them, you can do it. It's easy. Okay, and here again, I kind of cut that, cut kind of crooked. I think I better straighten that up. Here again, when I get done, I'm not going to bore you with making you watch, but I will anchor it down to the top of the bed so it lays right across the edge of these beds evenly, and it's not in the way and looking silly. All right. Okay, now this is, let me get around to here. Don't get too far away. This is the drip tubing, and I'm going to lay it where it makes a little loop inside this bed. Now, to work that drip tubing, you got this little tool that punches a hole in your drip line. It's easy to use, and I would suggest you pay the few dollars this tool costs. You don't have to. They do have a little handheld, just a little thing you poke in, boy, this is a bunch easier. I can see if you were setting up a whole system, that little tool would wear you out. All right, now this is just your little connector, and you just pop it in the line. You can hear it pop when you get in there. And then your little drip line just presses right onto that. It's just as simple and as easy as that. And then, of course, you've got an open end on that drip line. So we have a thing here that's called a goof plug that takes care of things like that. Now, these goof plugs can also be used if you made a hole here and now I don't need it anymore. So they're easy. Just snap it in, push it into the end of the line. There you go. Your line's sealed on the end, and it'll sit there and drip, and it'll water the strawberry plants. Now I'm going to add one more thing that I want you to be able to see, because this is a different way of using it, the drip irrigation, but it's kind of necessary sometimes too. These are little drip emitters, okay? Now, this is what you do if you said, well, I don't need a drip line that's going to water 16 feet of area, but what I need is to be able to put a single drip emitter here and there on where I've got a plant. So, probably won't be able to see this quite as well, but I'm going to poke a hole in this line here. Grab me one of those connectors, poke it in till you hear it snap. Then I'm going to take a little bit of this. Is just a 1/4 inch tubing, and it does not have any holes in it. It's just a straight piece of tubing, and screw it on there. Now on the end, I'm going to push on one of these little drip emitters. And this does take just a little bit of force to push some of these connections together, but I think everybody could do it. Anybody could do it. All right, then you just place that in your pot. It's done. Well, like I say, the reason I took you through, I don't do a lot of little hands-on, we're building this or building that, because y'all know how to do that, you know. But I have had people ask questions about these drip systems. They hadn't seen them, they didn't know about them, they didn't know how you worked on them. So I thought I'd show you that it's really simple and really adaptable, and you can have it, use it 100 different ways in 100 different places. So, and they're inexpensive. Now, when you put one together, you usually have a timer. Now my timer died, so right now the whole system's hooked up, and all I do is I turn on the water faucet when I get here in the morning and go out to the garden. And then when I get done, or 30 minutes later if I think it needs more, I'll go ahead and shut the faucet off. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to buy another drip timer at some point, but you know, just haven't got around to doing it yet. Okay, now I wanted to show you, I see a lot of people, I see it on Facebook, hear about it at work. You know, tomatoes get, birds peck holes in them, okay? Now I've heard people say, well, that's just the bird wants water, that they don't really want to eat your tomatoes. Well, I don't know. I've had birds peck holes in mine quite a bit, and I even put out a pan of water for them, and they still pecked holes in them. So I built some little bird chasers, for lack of a better word. I can't think of anything right now. And all they are, I used this idea, and I found it on somebody else's site, but a lot of people hang CDs and things like that, and they'll blow around in the breeze and flash in the sun, and that'll scare a bird off. Well, this idea is just a little more elaborate. They're using a pie plate, but then he also puts something like a big washer or something like that, so that it makes a little sound when the breeze is blowing. The reason I decided to use that, and I've just got them on a piece of bamboo, so when tomatoes are done, or where I'm done with them, I can just pick them up, put them in the garage, leave them for next year. I think this little added noise, excuse me, might be helpful too with some of the more timid little animals that get into your garden and do damage. Like if you had a little breeze and that thing was clanking along and flinging along, that might keep some rabbits out. Don't know, but it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. Okay, last thing I want to cover. This is the last thing. We're really tickled. We've come to kind of a little milestone in our budding little video channel. We've gotten over 1,000 views. I think it's like 1,079 or something like that. And we've picked up another couple of 3 subscribers, so we're at 18 now. Where I think the last time I talked about this, we were at 12. Thank you all a lot. I want to let you know, when somebody subscribes to me and I see their name in my subscriber list, which some people don't allow their name to be seen, so I can't. But if I see their name, then I subscribe to them too. And if they put something out and it shows up on my subscription videos, I'll watch it. It might not be the most interesting thing to me, but you know what? I know it's important to them. So I do that. So thank you. Y'all have made my day. I hope I showed you something that had some use for you today. Everything's still growing fine. Still need a little bit more fertilizer. Here again though, come August, my son and I are going to start the fertilizer factory. And you'll be in on it. I'll show you every step. Okay, thank you very much. You have a quality day.